Chapter 3, revenue models, is really an interesting one, kind of a fun one because, everyone wants to know how can I make money on the web, and there's just so many new, interesting things going on that, I think you'll find this very unique and innovative. So, okay, basically in this chapter, there's some very classic models that we'll go through pretty quickly. There's a web catalog, digital content, advertising, and some mixed things, fee-based, and so on. And most of them pertain to B2C and B2B. But the other thing that we'll get to at the very end, but what I'd like you to be thinking about is innovation in revenue models. I want you to be always looking at websites and seeing what are they doing, what's so innovative that can help the client make some money that they haven't thought of. And so I hope you'll be paying attention to this as we do all of our deliverables, especially when you're doing your benchmarking analysis, because you should get some really good ideas for your clients. So I'm actually not going to get into a lot of this stuff. These are just some trends. However, this last one here, the most innovative companies in 2017 from Forbes, let me go into that. I actually pulled that up and actually started with just the first two on the Forbes list. So the number one, they said, was something called Rightmove. It's a real estate company in the UK. And so I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, so they have different things: buy, rent, find an agent, house prices, so, looking at both, so B2C and B2B. But then when I started kind of looking at this, I was thinking, okay, so what is it that can help this company Rightmove make more money? So they've got rentals, they've got property investments. What else do they have here? I'm sure the agents pay a fee for them, so a fee for service. I don't know if any of these are probably free things, but they build the site stickiness. So that was one. The number two one was called Dexcom. It's a medical company. I guess they must sell medical devices. And when I scrolled through it quickly, I just looked at, so how are they using the web to make money? So obviously they're going mobile. The revenue model, let's see, I assume that this is like an app, a paid app. So, many of you, I'm sure you pay for apps. Usually they're not very expensive, but still it adds up. You can make a lot of money with a lot of people downloading apps. So here's a glucose monitoring app that, they're using innovatively to make money. What else are they doing here? I don't know, this may be another app to manage your diabetes, or maybe it's the same one. Okay, here's just sales. Maybe they're selling some software that they're making money on. They have a support system, so I assume that it could be a paid revenue model for support. You can order your supplies. There's the catalog model. And then, some of this here, this could be like a digital content model where you possibly pay for information and reports. Anything else here? No, that should do it. But anyway, it's just interesting. The whole point is I want you to be paying attention and looking at websites and different companies, see what they're doing, see what you can learn from them. Okay, so going back here. All right. All right, so I'm going to very quickly go through the classic models. Of course, the first one that we all know and love from a B2C, it is B2C, is the web catalog model. Basically, transitioning from the old days, brick and mortar, you go to JCPenney, you buy stuff in the store, and then companies were transitioning into the catalog models. Remember, even back 100 years ago, Sears, I believe, or was it Sears Roebuck? There were a bunch of catalog companies. That's how they made their money. They sold the catalog. Even when they were pioneering the West, Sears would send their catalogs, and people could buy houses from, I think it was Sears. Anyway, and now, of course, transitioning into the web catalog model. So there's all kinds of pretty much everything consumers and businesses can buy online. But let me get out of this for a second and go back into here for just a couple of minutes, of sites. So, okay, of course, LL Bean, and of course, this goes into web design. Is it? Do you know what they do? What do they sell? What is their differential advantage? LL Bean's pretty good at that. They're like an outdoor company. They're promoting their differential advantage of all the natural outdoor experience and so on. And then again, as we've talked about before, the ease of navigation and organization is just huge. And interestingly, they've got some promotional stuff on there to kind of get people to log in. They've got gift cards. They do direct you to their retail locations, customer service, and so on. Okay, here's an interesting one. Vera Wang is a luxury goods. That tends to be a little bit harder because they're expensive, but I thought this was interesting. I don't want to do that. Okay, but luxury goods, it used to be that they really didn't sell much online, but let's just quickly take a quick peek. How about fall of 2017? What do we got here? Just loading. Okay. Interesting use of videos. Remember we talked about that as a trend. Videos. Okay, so a lot of stuff. What happens if I click on something? Let's click on this. So, alrighty. But I don't see a way to buy this. Do you? Nope. So maybe, and because they say that luxury goods don't sell online, so they're probably just going to direct you to where to buy this stuff. So here's the stores. Simply Vera. Some places are selling online, but apparently Vera Wang is not one of them. So the strategy is exclusivity, sending you to the stores and so on. Okay. Of course, Amazon is the epitome of all things B2C. You can get everything. It's grown over the years, started as books and videos. It's grown to everything, the whole affiliate model if you're a small business, and if you can still get a partnership and affiliation with Amazon, it is huge. It'll help you immensely. So let's just say if I want to purchase, here's a funny one, a 1940s blouse. So how many of those do we have? Okay, here we go. Well, surprisingly, there are some. And so you can see you can get anything, but a lot of it has to do with affiliation. And so Amazon makes a lot of money, revenue model by the affiliate. I don't know what fee that this company pays to Amazon, but let's see here. Just trying to see the company information. That it's an affiliate company that will ship to you directly, but Amazon does some vetting, and they do rankings and so on. But anyway, it's just another affiliate model, and of course, like I said, Amazon is the gold standard to benchmark against. Okay, so let me go back here. So we have clothes, we have electronics, we've got books, like, what started it all. We got the luxury stuff, clothes, we've got discounters, Walmart, Target, so on and so forth. Walmart apparently was really late to the game and had a lot of catching up to do, and their website has been continually under development to get, just to catch up to the other ones, the Yellow Beans of the world, the Amazons of the world. But they've taken seriously. They've invested a lot of money. JCPenney, for the past probably 5 years, their e-commerce sales have surpassed their in-store sales. So that's been a source of revenue. LL Bean the same way. Most of their sales are e-commerce. And so there's always especially if you're in a catalog model, you're always trying to reinvent your website to make it better, to make it more appealing, to get repeat customers and so on. Okay, so and if you are in a retailing, a B2C web catalog model, you also want to use what they call omni-channel here. In other words, and you all know this now, but if you are jcpenney.com, somebody can order something online. It can either be shipped to their home, it can be delivered to the store, you can return it to the store if that's more convenient for you. You can find something in a catalog. It's kind of a seamless experience. Everything is integrated, and as you all know, that's kind of the standard these days, to have an omni-channel experience in the catalog model. And here's just basically that same thing. The customers can examine the product in person, convenience of immediate person, but if it's not in stock, you can online order it. It can be available from other stores. It can ship and so on. Anyway, without getting into that too much, the omni-channel is very important. Personalization, websites try to experiment with that. There's been, I know a lot of times, if you, Amazon again is the epitome of that. You log in and it's got, hello Susan, we're back. This is what you've purchased. This is what you might like. If you like this, you might like that. Yeah, I mean, you've all seen that, and that it's very effective. So personalization, if you can integrate that into your website, artificial intelligence is adding to that, where they look at your trends, they look what your friends are doing, they incorporate your social media purchase. That also goes into the whole omni-channel experience. Some places have attempted virtual models, shopping assistants, that kind of thing. So, again, it goes back to innovation. It goes back to your target market. What will give you a competitive advantage? Let me just show you, before we move from as we're moving from a web catalog model to fee for content. Here was an interesting statistic. Where are we here? Okay, so these were some e-commerce trends, and when you're looking at subscription-based revenue models, this one says that they are the future. Now here they were talking about, when we get to the B2B part of it, where instead of having everything in-house, instead of having an IT group, labor force in-house, instead of having your advertising in-house, instead of doing your own accounting, you outsource essentially to these software as a service places. But the other thing that I thought was interesting about this is that they said millennials want to spread costs using subscriptions. So this is just an interesting statistic, that if you have something that lends itself to a subscription revenue model, then millennials are a key target market for that. Okay, let's see. I think that was about it. Okay. All right, let's keep going here to keep this short. Okay, so fee for content. As you know, with textbooks, you can either do it the old-fashioned way and buy a paper, a physical textbook, but a lot of publishers and students are going to the digital content, textbooks, the online books, digital subscriptions. The Folklore Library spends probably $1 million a year, if not more, on digital subscriptions, fee for content, for the different databases and so on. Online music, probably some of you have subscriptions to the different music channels, the video streaming. Most of us have Netflix that we subscribe to. There's the sling.com now. There's all kinds of online content. In fact, that's I'll show you an article in a minute about how that's kind of one of the big revenue generators, is online digital video content. Okay, and then let's keep moving forward. So we had fee for content, digital subscriptions. Advertising is huge. And Google, even though we call it a search company, it's really an advertising company. That's how they make their money. When you do a search, there's ads there, and you click on the ads, and people pay Google to advertise one of them. And they're so successful because they use very sophisticated algorithms to tailor the ads to what you're searching for. So if you go online and you're searching for golf clubs, then they're going to present you with an ad for golf clubs or for golf courses or for golf balls or whatever. And so it's very focused, it's very tailored, and it's very effective. And that's what's made them so successful. And it also, if you want to do well in the advertising model, you have to have site stickiness, meaning that you need to have a website that a lot of people go to, so that other businesses will want to advertise on your website. It's kind of like TV. The more popular your show, it's kind of like your show has a lot of site stickiness, the more you can charge for advertisers to advertise it. So, for example, NCIS, it's kind of a my generation show, but it's one of the most popular shows there is, so they can charge a lot more than some kind of niche little, I don't know, fishing show that nobody watches. Although, if you're focusing your ads towards fishermen or fisherwomen, then that is effective also. But I think you get the point. Your website has to have a lot of site stickiness in order to attract advertisers who are willing to pay you for that. The Super Bowl paying $3 million for a 30-second ad or whatever it is, it's because so many people watch the Super Bowl, so you're reaching so many people, millions and millions and millions of people, so the cost per person of your reach is a lot higher. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Advertising supported. So you see this all the time. I mean, if you go on to, let's say, the New York Times or the Bangor Daily News, you're going to see a lot of ads on there. Pretty much a lot of different sites will use the advertising model to make some extra money. So it does make sense to do that. Advertising supported revenue model. I mean, essentially you're advertising your jobs at monster.com, probably Indeed.com, all of these things here. The Cycle Trader for all kinds of boats and jet skis and whatever. So it's very, very widely used, and it's very effective. So that's something to keep in mind. Advertising subscription. So there's mixed models, and this is interesting with something like the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. And the point here is that businesses are always experimenting because sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. I think businesses like the New York Times, I think, started saying, oh, people love us, they'll pay us for a subscription model, and then they didn't. And so then they had to kind of go back to the drawing board and say, okay, people aren't buying our paper newspapers anymore. They don't want to pay for the online content. How do we make money? Well, maybe we sell ads and don't charge. But then they also experiment and say, well, we can give a little bit, but then for premium content we can charge, and people are willing to pay for premium content. So it's never ending, and the point is that you always have to be experimenting. It's kind of half art, half science, and you definitely don't ever want to be complacent. ESPN, I think a lot of you probably look at ESPN.com, and you probably know that there is some free digital content, but then there's that premium content that you pay for. When you search for articles, a lot of times you get something where it says, okay, if you want to read this article, send us give us your credit card, and it's going to cost you $29 or whatever. So it's very common. And this is kind of an interesting slide. I like this because an advertising, okay, it's a little out of sync, sorry. General interest strategy, you pay low rates to reach many people. It's sort of non-specific. You're reaching a lot of people, but it's not really focused or targeted. But then you pay higher rates when you can customize your target market to reach them more specifically, because your conversion rate is going to be a lot higher. And then special interest, same basic principle. Okay. This is just some examples of the advertising model. So most or all content free to visitors. Then the mixed models, Business Week, substantial content free, and then let's see, The Economist, only subscribers. So it's a continuum, and it kind of depends on your target market. All right, fee for transaction, that's also very common. So I like the one, let me show you, let me go back to Etsy here. Where's Etsy? Here we go. All right. Etsy, we know, probably all of you know Etsy's been phenomenally successful. And this is also, now we take this for granted, but when it started, it was new and innovative, and they also continue to grow and expand, and so their revenue model is just phenomenal. They're doing great. And so you can find anything on Etsy, and let's just say, so we're under weddings. Let's do something blue under weddings, something kind of random here. So people advertise on Etsy, and I've never personally advertised, so I don't know how much Etsy charges. I don't know what their fee for transaction is. But they're making a lot of money. Think about the thousands and thousands and thousands of small businesses that are using this. So very clever, very innovative, and you can learn from this. Okay, going back here. All right, so fee for transaction. All just more examples. Most of us have used travel sites like Expedia, Travelocity, and so on. All kinds of travel websites, automobile sales, Cars.com. I believe you pay a fee, and they negotiate the purchase price for you. You're supposed to save money. Stockbrokers. What's this? eTrade.com. You've heard of all that. Pay $7 for a trade instead of going to stockbroker and paying $100, whatever. Websites, you can do fee for transactions on insurance, on tickets, on real estate, on banking, music. You pay for your music. Let's see more. Things like lawyers and doctors are regulated, so you don't see that much, but it's possible, I suppose. Let's see, magazines. Saying we're going back to digital content here. Okay. Here it's just basically, that things change, things evolve. Don't become complacent. Keep searching. Stay on top. Find innovation. Benchmark against it, and so on. Alliances. That's again going back to like Etsy and Amazon. If you're a small business and you can either start yourself, but it's a huge barrier to get people to find your site. You're buried in the search engine rankings. But if you can get on with eBay as a small business, then your exposure is all of a sudden tremendous, and it's just such a huge boon. So alliances like that, registering with eBay, or if you're able to, Amazon. It's hard to get onto Amazon these days, but or Etsy or one of those, it's just absolutely huge for small businesses. So that's really important. We talked about luxury goods. That's harder. That a lot of times has to do with branding and developing using your marketing strategy to get kind of create a pull strategy to get people to get to your stores and so on. Okay, but then here's a few. This is the last slide. A few other examples of innovation. So let me go back here. So here's what I had mentioned earlier about digital content becoming the huge revenue model. So YouTube, they found that what was it that was helping them grow and get customers? It was their original content. Same with Netflix. Now Amazon's gotten in the game. And why do people subscribe? Because they love the shows. What were some? I'm sure there's new ones that you all know about, but Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, all that stuff. And that's what got people to subscribe to all those things. So it's interesting, the race with Amazon, Netflix, and Google, and probably more. But so this was May 5th, so pretty recent. Google's YouTube will produce a lineup of new original content that will screen for free on phones. Repositioning the streaming video website as a new destination. So how are they going to make their money? Maybe just that whole site stickiness. You bring people to Google, and then it's like Super Bowl ads. People are coming to Google. They're going to pay a lot of money for YouTube ads and so on. But anyway, so there's that, and then Uber. Despite all the controversies, they are innovative, and they do come up with some cool, innovative new revenue models. So the new Uber Eats, the Uber car service that drives you home, will also deliver your late night munchies once you get there. So the whole thing about Uber is it's all digital. The driving is physical, but there was a recent article about the Uber has captured something like 75% of the business market because it's all businesses can schedule it. They tie it into the business travel department, so it's all seamless. You pay probably a transaction fee, and then they have all the tracking stuff and so on. But the idea is just, again, I'm going to close with this, that I would hope that what you're going to take from this is that you can never become complacent. You should always be inquisitive and searching for new innovative stuff. Always be on the lookout for what's new and emerging, and see what you can learn from that. See what you can help your client, your company, yourself with. And on that note, I will close and look forward to seeing your comments in our discussion forum. Thank you.